Afternoon. Ayan. Welcome everyone to our free webinar. Don't worry, we're not starting yet. I would just like to welcome everyone who's early and who's already inside the room. Just a quick check, no? Can you type one if this is your first time joining our free webinar today? And where you're watching, you can also include, no, beside the number, if one or two, where you're watching. Yeah. Welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. Thank you very much for making time, no? So we'll be starting in about very shortly. In the meantime, please do keep your audio and your video on mute. We'll have a 1 hour session today, and we'll also have time for your questions and answers. So I hope you stay tuned and stay up until the end of our program. So again, welcome to everyone. We'll be starting in a few minutes. Thank you.
Actually, kanina pa. Okay lang.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah. Hello
Good
again.
afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, good afternoon. Welcome to our free webinar on managing employee misconduct from incident to resolution. So, this is our free webinar offering for October. So, maraming salamat po for making time today, no, for joining us in this program. So, just to introduce myself, I believe you've seen my emails na yung mga confirmation. My name's Aimee Turla. I am the project manager for Talent Reach. Before we begin, I would just like to share some information. No? So, I noticed kanina when I asked, no, how many of you are, joining us for the first time, and there's pretty much medyo malaki yung percentage ng ating attendance for those who are joining us for the first time. So, Darjan, thank you and welcome. I do hope that this will be worth your time and that you will have some good takeaways, no, and hopefully we get to have you again in our future programs. All right, so let me just quickly share my screen here. Hold on. Let's simula. Okay. All right. So I hope everyone's able to see my screen. So Talent Reach is a training and management consultancy company. We started way back in 2015. Our company is focused on providing strategic people solutions. So we create customized training programs on leadership development, performance management, and we also offer consulting services because our trainer, speaker, and the managing director of Talent Reach is a full-time consultant. Yeah. Okay, so the services that we offer here at Talent Reach is our HR administration, performance management. Yung pinaka most in demand namin na project is on job evaluation and designing salary structure. So if you have some questions about our services, you're welcome to reach out to us via our email there at info.talentreachph.org. Okay, and these are just the training programs that we offer, no? So apart from the free programs, we also conduct paid programs online and also face to face. So these are the in-house programs that we have been providing our clients: basic supervisory, people management, coaching, performance conversations, and also our signature programs, developing and discovering emotional intelligence. We also create customized programs on recruitment and selection, succession planning, compensation management, and the logos that you see there are past and current clients. And on this coming November 28th, we're heading to Angeles City, no, for our very first 3-hour learning session. So it will be held in Angeles City. I do hope if you're from Angeles, no, or in Pampanga, if in Clark or San Fernando or Subic, malapit lang to. I think kung sa San Fernando, maybe 30 minutes. Kung sa Subic naman, mga 1.5 hour trip, no, to Angeles, I suppose. Yan. So, if you would like to know more information about this program, please do send us an email at info.talentreachph.org. And please do follow us for our announcements on the programs that we conduct, no, as well as we also provide some good content insights, no, on HR and on managing human resources and your workforce. So I do hope that you follow our platforms. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and the recording of this free webinar is also going to be available on YouTube, as well as the previous webinars that we have conducted. So these are just the contact information where you can reach us. No, we are on Viber, as well as if you would like to directly call us, that's our official mobile number. Yeah. Okay. So. All right. So to introduce our speaker, we would ask you to watch a short video introduction. So, Justin, please do help me out. All right, thank you. So without further ado, I now give the room to our speaker and host for this afternoon's free webinar, the founder and managing director of Talent Reach, Mr. Ronnie Turla, certified human resource professional.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our monthly webinar. And this is our free offering for the month of October. No? So I hope everyone is doing well and fine. No? So I hope you're um, tuned in to the Zoom room. No? And we're happy that we have this good attendance so far. No? So we were expecting itong number of participants for today, no? So again, no, we'd like you to join us, no, until the completion of this program, no, because later, you if you have questions or any reaction with the topic that we're going to discuss for today, no, so I will be more than glad to be able to answer them after the whole program is done. Okay, so. No, I think no, based on the attendance right now, some of you are first timer, no? So we've seen that you are first timer for Talent Reach. No? So as what Jaime's mentioned, Talent Reach has been conducting no webinars since 2020, since the start of the pandemic. We've tried our best to be able to really no provide free no and as well as paid workshops. No? So we've conducted in previous months no some face-to-face program and some of it are also online webinars. We usually conduct no, itong webinars natin almost every month. We've had previous topics, no? That's why if you would like to um, you know watch no previous sessions which were recorded, no? So you can check in YouTube, no? Just search for Talent Reach and then you can try to watch those particular previous topics that we have conducted in previous months, no? So that you can again catch up with the topics that we have discussed. So for today, again, we have an interesting topic that we would like to be able to discuss and probably very relevant for most of us because this has something to do with discipline. No? Because I think no, sa experience ko with HR, I've been in HR for the past I think more than 20 years in this case, no? Dalawang bagay lang yung laging nagiging controversial for HR, no? So ano yung dalawang bagay? It's about discipline and about compensation. Yan. So pag yan ang pinag-uusapan, no, it's really a very interesting topic altogether, especially yung second topic, which is compensation, because a lot of people, no, pag pinag-usapan ang compensation, no, they're all ears about it, no, yeah. So hopefully for today, you will have the chance to be able to learn, no, something about employee discipline, and again, after this program, we're going to offer, a very simple toolkit, no, regarding discipline. No? So that means that aside from the handout that you can receive from this program, no, we'll be providing some extra forms. No? So yung toolkit natin would be something that you can use no, and customize eventually for your own respective organizations if you need to use such toolkit. Yeah, okay. So without further ado, let me now jump into our topic this afternoon. So let me just upload my screen. Okay. Um, and again, later on, if you will be having some questions regarding our topic for today, feel free to post them in the chat box. Okay. Either post it in there, kung medyo sensitive, if you want to direct it to either. So we have in the room, Amy and Justine, they can facilitate your questions. So just message them in the chat box for your questions or your reaction. Okay. Also, if my audio is breaking up or I am not clear, just let us know so that we can be able to fix no the problem with regards to the audio or internet connection. Okay, so to start off my discussion, okay, first off we have to define what discipline and employee discipline are. No? So when you talk about discipline, this is the expected and acceptable behavior, no, within the organization. So it's important that as HR, if you're in HR, especially if you're handling employee relations, it's important for you to set expected behaviors from your employees. No? Now, aside from that, no, we have to also consider that we have to look into employee discipline, no? Which is the behavior expected by the employer or the organization. Now, when you combine the two, no, the expected and the acceptable behavior, then you now have what they call employee discipline. Okay. So as your company starts to be able to manage employees, we all know that we have to establish certain norms, certain expectations, as well as values that have to be practiced inside the organization. That's why employee discipline plays a big part in terms of maintaining the proper behavior, as well as somehow balancing the capacity of the organization or the company to reward and at the same time punish, no? Because usually, diba, when you have the concept of employee discipline, no, which I'd like to ask, no, our participants, no, when it comes to the topic or the term employee discipline, what always comes to your mind? No? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you say employee discipline? Can you type in the chat box? What is your idea generally, whenever you talk about employee discipline? Sige, kindly type in the chat box, no? Some choices probably that you can type is that is it is discipline a uh, corrective? Is it punishment? Or is it a training, for people or for employees? Yeah, so you have choices. No? So is it corrective? Is it punishment? Or is it training? Yeah, so can you type in the chat box what do you think is your concept of employee discipline? Okay, let's try to see. Okay, so far I am seeing corrective and following rules. Okay, thank you for sharing that. No? Training as well. And all of the above. And depending on the offense. Okay, good. Okay. So I guess no, most of the persons here in the room already have pretty much a good idea of what discipline is, no? And for today, we're going to focus in Zoom towards employee misconduct, no? Because that's one of the major areas where we have to learn how to be able to process, no, and be able to resolve that particular problem or that particular challenge that we have. Okay, thank you for answering. No? Ayan. Now, when we talk about employee discipline, there's always that aspect of following rules and regulations. Okay, so uh, some of the participants are correct that we have to be able to follow the rules and regulations. No? So at the same time, we have to consider what are the things that we have to set as a behavior, both expressed and implied. Okay, what do you mean by that? When you talk about express, these are things that can be verbally expressed to an employee or something that can be written down in a contract. Okay? So usually, diba, when you want to be able to refer to disciplinary measures, that has to be included in the contract that you are going to issue to the employee. Okay? And at the same time, implied siya because there are things, for example, that we could consider to be parang generally implied, no, na for example, if you're into a certain function, no, like for example finance or accounting, yung behavior natin of um being confidential, because sabihin, we try to protect confidentiality, that is already implied, no, based on your position. So because of that, no, nagpo-form tayo ng certain expectations with our employees. Now, we have to remember that there are two types of discipline that can be applied in a company. So what are those? No? So we have positive or constructive discipline. We also have yung corrective or punitive discipline. Okay. Now, when you talk about positive or constructive discipline, sabi nga natin, self-discipline within the organization by educating all employees about the rules and regulations and standards. So part of implementing positive or constructive discipline is to always make people aware. No? Some of the best practices that I've seen over the years is making sure, no, that the code of conduct or the code of discipline is properly discussed in the orientation or the the onboarding of the employees, no, as well as make it a point, no, that you discuss some parts of the code of discipline or the employee handbook during the lifetime of the employee. Kasi, di ba, sometimes even when you orient a person, they have a tendency to forget or at least parang to uh, you know um, not recall, no, certain policies or the code of discipline itself, no. So that's why uh, so we should have some kind of reorientation at least every year, no. So if you can do some annual refresher of your code of discipline, that would be a good practice, right? So of course you have to make sure that in the orientation the rules and regulations are properly explained, no, to them. Okay. Also, educating employees on the objective expected of those rules, no, regulations, and standard is part of positive or constructive discipline. Uh, but at the same time, obtaining the consent of all employees in amending, no, existing rules and regulations and adding new ones. So, when you talk about constructive discipline, it also somehow, no, involve employee, no, yung tinatawag nating employee participation when it comes to certain rules, for example. Okay. Let me give you an example. Let's say if you're talking about attendance policy, no, yung mga policy on tardiness, on absences, for example, no, sometimes the company can set very strict rules about it, no, but it's also possible that if you want to have a constructive discipline, you have to also listen to employees, suggesting certain revisions or improvements in terms of the policy. No, so by doing so, you're trying to invite them to participate in the policy making. No? So for me, that's one of the objectives of what HR is supposed to do. No, to involve employees. No, and help them participate with regards to the formulation and as well as the implementation of policies in the company. Now, positive or constructive discipline is also called a preventive discipline, no? Because by educating people with regards to your rules and regulations, you are hoping, you are trying to make sure, no, that policies are clear with your employees. No? But again, we all know reality will tell us that it is not always the case. Okay. Now, on the other hand, no, when you talk about punitive discipline, making employees disciplined by punishing those who violate the code of conduct, no, it could be used as a preventive method for for the future violation of discipline. No? So, merong punitive aspect talaga ang discipline. Hindi natin siya, we cannot take it away from the term discipline. Now, when you look at the positive approach, no, the principle behind the positive approach in discipline is that the idea that there's no bad human behavior. No? So you encourage people to have positive behavioral patterns, no? And of course, you try to promote ethical and lawful behavior inside the organization. So nagkakaroon ka ngayon ng tinatawag nating constructive discipline. Okay? Now, another element, no, yun, I intentionally put a picture of a sandwich, no, because for some of us who might be hungry about it, no. So let's talk about the sandwich model. Okay, so the sandwich model is a very popular method that is used in terms of discipline because the concept is when you give a feedback, no, because sometimes feedback could be a form of discipline with an employee where you try to tell them what they did wrong, no? What part of what they perform or yung behavior nila, ano yung nagkamali tayo doon. No? So in that case, we try to also recall previous, no, good points of the employee. No? So kaya natin sinasabing sandwich because we don't just strike out the person or just um, tell the person this is what's wrong about you. No? So what you try to do is to also try to compliment the person with regards to what he or she is doing correctly. Okay? So, yun yung sandwich model na tinatawag natin. Okay. So, giving critical feedback to someone, usually kaya ginagamit natin to, is to change his or her behavior without hurting his feelings. No? alam natin that sometimes people can be hurt whenever we give feedback to the person. So sometimes the manner on which we give our feedback, no, could also be improved. No, we can try to say that when we don't try to give feedback that is specific, no, that is relevant and also timely, people can get pretty much discouraged with regards to the feedback that we're going to give. Okay, so that's why I would like you to consider using the sandwich model. Okay? So ito lang yung ano natin. So prepare the person, no? Try to compliment that person. Again, be sincere about the compliment, no? But of course, make sure to present the facts with the person and coach them, no, accordingly. And from there, no, try to encourage them to correct their behavior, no? And one of the important points, so when you're trying to either coach or discipline a person, no, importante yung follow up, no. The importance of follow up whenever you correct the person is that you're showing that you are sincerely, no, going to monitor them in terms of what they have committed, no, because usually in a let's say a coaching conversation, there has to be that kind of agreement of what the person wants to do, no, in terms of correcting. Sabi nga natin, it's prevention is better than cure, meaning that if you can prevent that person from repeating the same behavior again, okay, that is so much better. No? Rather than if the person keeps on repeating the same behavior, no, then of course you will have no other recourse but to actually progress. Okay, that's why the concept of progressive discipline, right? In the Philippine context, probably you're familiar with the progressive discipline, wherein you'll have the first offense, the second offense, etc. until umabot siya dun sa last level in that case. And that could mean that if you have exhausted all possible chances for the employee, then you will have to consider a higher penalty up to a maximum of termination. Okay? So again, ito yung progressive discipline na sinasabi natin, trying to correct the employee's misbehavior using progressive methods rather than just punishing them at once. Okay? So that means progressive discipline can start with counseling or verbal reprimand or verbal warning, moving towards a written warning, and then eventually moving towards suspension or demotion if it's necessary. And then, of course, finally, considering termination. Okay, so that's what we call progressive discipline. Now, of course, there's the negative approach when it comes to punitive discipline. We have what we call the hot stove theory. No? So the hot stove theory tells us that if a person touches a hot stove, they will get burned, right? So that means that if this other person would touch the same stove, hot stove, then they will get burned as well. No? So ang ibig lang sabihin ng hot stove approach is that when you apply discipline, no, if a person or group of people under, let's say, your direction commits the same mistake, no, then we have to think about being fair in terms of treating that particular incident. No? Because it can appear, for example, na if two people are late or tardy, for example, no, and somehow no, you would want to put some or give some concession with one employee, for example, for some reasons, no? So give them some consideration, no? So there could be an issue about fairness, no? Especially because you're dealing with a particular situation where uh, there is an equal or at least there is a similar incident that have happened, okay? And because of that, you need to be able to think about discipline. Pag naging negative approach siya, is that people once they commit something, there will be consequences for their actions. Okay? So that's another angle dun sa hot stove that when they don't follow the rules and regulations, then definitely there could be some consequences that they will encounter with regards to uh, the disciplinary action that can be given to them. Now, since we're talking about managing employee misconduct, let's try to understand what does it mean to or what does it mean to have employee misconduct? No? So, um, employee misconduct is violating the rules and regulations of the organization. Okay, again, both either expressed or implied, as part of the contract. No, that's why when you read the contract, no, it's very important to put in what are some of the important parts that has to be enforced with regards to the rules and regulations of the company. Okay, so again, it's important to have a portion, no, of yung uh, possible termination of employment, no, because of misconduct included in the contract. No, so yeah, so an employee misconduct is an act, no, done inside or outside the organization, which has again an impact on the smoothness of the functioning of the organization. So yun yung what we call employee misconduct. So further, no, if we define an employee misconduct in a more formal way, no, this is an act or omission that is in breach of an expressed or an implied term and conditions of the employment which has been adverse bearing on the smooth functioning of the workplace. Okay. When I talk about that, no, it could mean that the misconduct could either have an impact or damage, no, to the reputation of the company. There could be, a possible injury, no, to another person, whether same level or higher level of employee in the company. So these are the nature of employee misconduct. Okay. So in this session, we're going to discover what are those typical misconduct, no, that can happen, no, and what are the remedies or what are the things that we can do to handle the employee misconduct. Okay, so later on, as we progress in the program, no, I'll be showing to you a sample flow chart. No, yung sample flow chart, you can make use of it so that when you administer your disciplinary procedures, no, it will conform to a certain extent dun sa requirement natin for due process. Okay? So later I'll be sharing that with you. Now, there are two types of misconduct that you can apply in a company. Okay, what are the two types? You have minor misconduct and a major misconduct or a gross misconduct. Okay, let's try to unpack what are the difference between the two. Okay, let's start with the minor misconduct. So, a minor misconduct are acts of misconduct that do not result in severe disciplinary action. Okay, now when you talk about misconduct also, you have to consider two things as well. No, whether the question of whether the misconduct being intentional or unintentional. Okay, so whenever you're trying to look at a particular incident of misconduct, you have to consider the two aspects. Meaning, is the action created intentional or was it unintentional? Okay, like for example, if uh, I got angry, I shouted at the person, for example, but I did not mean it, right? So because of that, somehow, you could consider it a minor misconduct because it was probably, brought out of a certain situation that got me angry or irritated, and because of that, you see that it will not result into a severe disciplinary action. Okay, so what are examples of minor misconduct? No, number one, late attendance or tardiness. Okay, so it could fall under misconduct. Second, absenteeism. Okay, so absenteeism could be considered to be a misconduct. No, and of course, there's what they call excessive absenteeism. So that's where we consider it to be a major misconduct if it becomes excessive. Okay, another could be negligence of work or carelessness. So it could be a minor misconduct. No, again, we establish whether it's intentional or unintentional. Okay. Not wearing uniforms or personal protective equipments or PPEs could be considered to be a minor misconduct. Okay. Okay. Refusal to work reasonable amount of overtime work, right? So in this case, not subjecting yourself to go on overtime could be a minor misconduct, even if there was already an instruction given to you by your immediate superior. No, so yung refusal without the proper or the contextual reason why you will not go on work, for example, could be considered a minor misconduct. Okay, now those are some of the examples of your minor misconduct. No? Now, this time, let's look at what could be major misconduct, no, or a gross misconduct. So, These misconducts are usually cases where it will result in severe disciplinary actions, including the penalty of termination, which is the highest. Usually, that's the highest penalty for most organizations, yung kanilang termination. Okay. Okay. What are some examples of major misconduct? Okay. One, of course, top of the list would be insubordination. Okay. So insubordination is the act of willfully disobeying your superior. Okay. So remember, in insubordination, there should always be the presence of an order or an instruction, whether verbal or written. Okay? So for example, pag meron tayong sinabi dun sa employees natin, no, na supposedly dapat sinunod niya, pero the person chose not to follow it, no? Again, intentionally or unintentionally, that could fall under insubordination. Okay? So that's the first major misconduct. Okay, another one is false allegation against a superior. Okay, meaning false accusation, no? And you don't have a solid foundation regarding your allegation regarding a superior. Okay, so that could be again a major misconduct, no, that can happen to you. Okay, another of course would be theft or misappropriation, no, stealing, misappropriation of properties. These are part of major misconduct. Okay. Another could be assaulting or threatening another employee. So that's another major misconduct, no, that can happen. Again, this could fall under whether it's in the workplace or even outside the workplace. Okay. So that could be considered a major misconduct. Another could be using abusive language to address superiors. Okay. So again, this could fall under major misconduct, especially if they are using very profane or foul words, no, to address their superior. Okay. So that could be also considered a major misconduct. Okay. Drunkenness of responsible officers while on duty is another example of a major or a gross misconduct. Okay. Now, given all of those examples, no, of our major and minor misconduct, no, so let's find out now how do we resolve, no? So what would be our disciplinary procedure? Okay, so the first step in terms of our disciplinary procedure in dealing with the following examples that I've given is to do a preliminary investigation. Okay, there has to be that kind of collecting materials regarding evidences about it, no? Recording if necessary, and deciding whether kinakailangan ba to do a proper inquiry. No? So usually, if you have a case of a misconduct, there has to be that element of yung substantial evidence. Okay, what do I mean by the substantial evidence? The substantial evidence means that there should be that kind of proof or evidence that will convince the company that indeed that misconduct happened, no, let's say between two persons. So that's why in the part of the preliminary investigation, we have to make sure that there is a substantial evidence, no, whether it's a recording, it is a statement coming from another employee who became a witness to the misconduct, for example, that will be able to support your investigation. Okay. Now, the second part here, after gathering information and evidences, is for us to show cause, or what we call yung, in some terms, we call it the charge sheet or the notice to explain. Okay. So in this case, we try to show the mistakes committed by the employee concerned, no, and then try to explain the gravity of those mistakes. Okay. So that's why we always have to remember the gravity of the misconduct. That's why there is what we call a minor and a major misconduct. So we have to define that as part of our code of discipline. Kasi not all misconduct are considered to be major, no? As well, of course, you have to define what are your minor misconduct. Okay? And as a result of that, you also have to explain what could be charges for these mistakes, no? What could be the consequences? What are the penalties that could be given to them as part of the disciplinary procedure? And then, of course, from there, we have to go through the aspect of due process where we receive explanation. Okay, we try to obtain or get answers for the mistakes committed. Okay, and also get the reasons for the behavior. No, that's why the written explanation or even the administrative inquiry would play that part. No, so remember, in compliance with the due process of implementing discipline, we have to ensure that the asking or the receiving of explanation is conducted, no, with every particular case or offenses that you roll out to your employees. No? So never forget that, no, because remember, when we forget this particular aspect of our disciplinary procedure, there could be some consequences. No? Okay, let me quote a particular consequence that can happen. No? So in a landmark case here in the Philippines, no, meron tayong tinatawag ng landmark case regarding disciplinary procedure, yung Pepsi Cola example. So ano yung Pepsi Cola example? So Pepsi Cola, if you're familiar with the beverage drink, no? So this particular company at a particular period in history encountered a case about employee discipline wherein they terminated the person, no, and then of course they talked to the employee, no, but apparently the decision, although no it was upheld that the decision to terminate was correct, no, but there was a flaw in terms of their procedure. So what was the flaw in the procedure? No, they did not ask the person to explain. Okay, so that means there was no proof of the show cause. There was also no written explanation that was received, no, from their end. But in terms of the offense, it is definitely considered to be terminable. No? Ibig sabihin, pwede sila mag-terminate because of that particular offense. No? So what happened there, just to cut the long story short, is uh, the termination was upheld, but the company had to pay certain damages because of the non-compliance with the procedure. Okay, so that means the company can be penalized even if you had the right to terminate the person based on a particular offense. Okay, so that is the lesson learned regarding disciplinary procedure. Okay, so you have to make sure, although sometimes it could be tedious to follow yung mga notices, for example, no, it's important for us to abide or at least follow that particular procedure. Okay. Now, of course, part of receiving explanation is to analyze the answers, to see the validity of the answers, and to treat the answers and explanations based on their validity. Okay. So, ito yung part na when you try to now receive the explanation, no, you will see whether um, is the explanation valid or is there a particular alibi? Okay. So when I say alibi, usually when you read an explanation, kapag may mga misconduct, there could be some kind of alibi. No? Meaning, an alibi could be, a way for the employee to go around a certain policy, for example, and hence the person will say, "I did not mean it," no? Or somehow, parang the person will say, uh, it was probably a joke or something like a non-threatening remark for the person, no? But again, depending on what the explanation is, you will have to analyze whether would you accept or reject the explanation. Okay? So, part siya nung disciplinary procedure na sinasabi natin. Okay? Also, there might be a need for some kind of analysis for the incident, no? Based on the management as well as whether kailangan ba nating tignan kung tama ba yung ginawa ng employees natin. And then from there, you look at the report, no? The report is prepared, no? By an impartial person. That's why usually HR in the disciplinary process becomes an impartial person, okay? And the report will now consist, no, of findings based on what decisions can be made based on this report. Okay? And then from there, of course, you take disciplinary action depending on the gravity of the mistakes committed. No, again, the higher the gravity, the more tight the punishment will be, no, or the consequences. No, so kasama siya dun sa disciplinary procedure natin. Now, we have to remember that there are different types of punishment or disciplinary actions. There's what they call warnings or verbal, sorry, whether written or verbal. Okay. So this could be exercised by the company. You can also have severe warning or last warning or what they call a final warning. So pwede siyang gamitin as part of the disciplinary action. Okay. Suspending no, without pay for a definite period of time is also a consideration for the types of disciplinary action. Transferring an employee could be a form of disciplinary action. Okay. So when you transfer an employee from one location or one department after the other, could be an example of a punishment or a disciplinary action for a certain employee. Okay. Another punishment that can happen is the deferments of increments or promotions. Okay. So in the case, for example, of an employee who has committed a serious offense, no, but is not terminable in terms of the offense, that means that even if the person, is still currently employed with the company, it might affect the person's chances of being promoted to the next position because of such disciplinary action. So a person who has a set of disciplinary actions, especially if those actions are suspension or parang somehow the case could be termination pero hindi siya na terminate, for example, then that means that there could be some consequences with regards to the employee movements or even the possibility of salary increases. Okay, so that would be a type of punishment or disciplinary action. Okay, so deferment does not necessarily mean that wala nang ibibigay. So that means na i-defer lang natin hanggang sa makita natin na hindi nagkakaroon ng recurrence yung kanyang disciplinary action. Demotion, although controversial for some, it might, be a recourse. No, again, we just have to be careful with regards to this because it shouldn't be the first line of action that we need to do with the person because there are some legal repercussions with regards to demotion, especially if we're talking about the non-diminution of benefits, no, or the compensation of the employee. Okay, but demotion could be considered if it's the last recourse for a person who refuses, no, to change his behavior or even performance-wise, the person has been given a chance but does not really show progress or some improvements. Then demotion could be an alternative action. Okay, so again, why do we need to discipline employees? No, so employees experience conflict at work, no, and sometimes they will break the rules, no. So that's expected. It then becomes your job to minimize the conflict, and to get things back on track. So the disciplinary policies plays a good or a prime role in prohibiting unwanted employee behaviors. That's why if there are unwanted behaviors that you'd want to be, for the employees to be aware, no, kailangan isama natin siya dun sa ating disciplinary policy. Okay? So again, typical reasons for or issues related to conduct. Take a look at this one. No? So another list of possible, list of things na you can consider regarding to conduct. Okay? So again, by the way, no, this will be included for those of you who would want to take a copy or at least get a copy of this presentation material that I'm sharing to you right now. You can reach out to us after this webinar, and then we can be able to send you the copy as well as the toolkit that we have mentioned. Now, again, employees should know what they can and what they cannot do. So that's an important part when it comes to the ground rules. No? So communicating, as I mentioned to you earlier, should happen between your employees so that they know that if they break the rules, there are some consequences for their action. Okay. So again, the policy must be communicated to employees periodically, providing a copy, no, posting it, or even including it in the employee handbook. No, I've always asked this question regarding the code of discipline. No, the usual question that I get is, can we give a copy, of the handbook or the code of discipline? No? So For me, no, generally my answer would be yes, no, because if you would want the person to be aware, no, so it's important for them to have access to the information or to the copy. Okay. Now, there's also that, parang question of what if the person, parang try to bring it home or, even, share different copies of it. No? So for me, it's important to also set that certain internal documents in the company should be just consumed within the company. No? Hindi siya kailangang ilabas or at least i-share sa ibang tao, no? Because it is company property. No? Pagdating dun sa ating handbook or ating mga policies. Okay? So here's an example of a policy, no? Which again, we are giving to you as a template, no? Yan. Now, again, corrective discipline, as we've mentioned, the purpose of the discipline is to assist, the employees in changing their unwanted behavior. So the disciplinary system that we have, I've just presented, um, is pattern towards progressive discipline, which is again very popular in our local employers, no, particularly in the Philippines. So this one I've mentioned to you as well, the general types of disciplinary action available for us. So just to repeat again, verbal counseling could be given, written warning, suspension, and then as well as termination. Now, let me give this to you, no, as a flow chart. Okay. Um, Whenever we have our infraction, okay, so we have the requirement of our first and then as our second notice. Okay. So when we give the notice to explain, okay, we have to make sure that we serve it to the employee. Okay. Now, the question could be, what do you do if employer refuses to receive or receives but refuses to sign? No? So it's important that when you issue the notice to explain or the first notice, that the person who served it can actually sign off whether the person accepted or did not accept. Okay. One practice that I've heard, no, before, which I've actually witnessed, no, is to get a person to witness na the notice has been served. So that could be one way to resolve it. Okay. Now, what if the employee is on a wall? Okay, for the notice explained. So you have the capacity to send it, no, to the last known address of the employee. So presuming, no, if you're in HR and you have your database, your employee information, so kung ano yung address ng employee, especially kung a wall siya, doon siya pwedeng ipadala, pwedeng registered mail. Okay? Now, in the notice explained also, sa first notice, there's also that aspect, no, ng preventive suspension. But I will not try to cover so much on that, no. Pero preventive suspension can be initiated even on the first notice, okay, on certain occasions. Okay. Now, once the person is able to answer, okay, uh, you require that the person should be able to answer. Okay. Now, in terms of the period, no, of answering, usually the minimum is between 24 to 48 hours. But nowadays, no, meron tayong sinasabi nating a maximum of 5 days, no, especially for major cases. We have to follow yung 5 working days for them to be able to answer. Okay? Now, again, what to do if ever the employee refuses to answer, then we have to remind them that the waiver, no, to provide an answer means that the employee refuses to upheld the right, no, na ma-defend yung sarili niya. That's why mangyayari, the employer, whoever issues the notice, will be the one to decide upon the case. Okay? Um, Another could be that, if it's a misconduct, probably the employee will say, what if I just offer to resign? No? So again, this is now some questions that you have to answer, whether would you still proceed, no, dun sa ating second notice, which is the notice of disciplinary action. Again, later we will try to discuss that. Okay. Now, as we've said, for the admin hearing, no, you can initiate, especially if it's a misconduct. Okay. Um, Again, yung hearing could be conducted. In some cases, it's optional, no? Hindi siya laging required. okay? Especially if the offense is very straightforward, okay? But if there are offenses or major offenses that requires us to investigate further and ask other witnesses to submit their statements, then that's the reason why we need to do an admin hearing. Okay? And then from there, of course, we have to remember to provide a second notice, no, which is the notice of disciplinary action. Okay? And then from there, we try to do the evaluation and recommendation. Okay? So again, ito yung process, no? The general process where we have to follow that when we manage employee misconduct, no? Kailangan sundan natin yung first notice hanggang sa second notice natin. Okay? Hearings could also be given if necessary. Okay? So dito natin makikita ano yung tamang proseso. Okay. So as we've mentioned, verbal counseling can be given to our employees who encounter misconduct. Okay? So if it's a verbal counseling, I also recommend to you to take note of it, no? If you can record it, or at least, no, parang if hindi nyo man maalala exactly, no, try to, come up with a certain documentation that, indeed, the verbal counseling has actually been conducted with the employee, no? So pwede yung, meron kayong logbook of some sort, pwede nyo gawin as part of verbal counseling. Of course, written warning should be given, okay? And the following information should be contained in the written warning, okay? So you can follow this, no? Meron tayong, may format kayo, excuse me, may format kayong pwedeng gamitin for this one as part of the written warning. Suspension, again, as I've mentioned, it could range from 1 day to 2 weeks, okay? Depending on the circumstances, but it's almost always unpaid, or without pay, okay? And again, yung next step of suspension could be increasing the length, no, and going directly for termination. Okay. So again, suspension is a type of disciplinary action. Now, termination is the most severe. And in this case, before we terminate, no, the file and all relevant documents must be reviewed to ensure that the termination is appropriate. No? So termination really requires us to really think very well whether yung termination ba is the most reasonable decision to make with regards to a certain incident or misconduct. Okay? Kasi we have to consider a lot of things here, no? Yung tenure ng employee, yung kanyang performance, no? And other factors, no? So that's why termination is never an easy process. Okay? But again, some behavior will again definitely warrant automatic dismissal, such as violent behavior, no? Yung mga injury, drug or alcohol use, no, is definitely automatic dismissal. Carrying a weapon on company property is also automatically meriting dismissal. No, theft, destruction of company property could also be dismissal. No, insubordination or even abandonment of job could also be automatically going to dismissal. So again, as we've said, there are other forms of discipline that we can carry out. Demotion, transfer, or reduced raises or bonuses, as what we mentioned. So you can consider that and put that in your policy. So again, I just wanted to post here a flow chart, no, for proceeding to a termination process for a certain just cause. Okay. So again, if you follow this flow chart, no, it provides to you paano yung proseso for the termination process if ever you're going to terminate. Okay? So again, this is included in the handout that you're going to receive in the case that you would want to avail of this particular handout. Okay? So ito naman, termination process for authorized causes. Okay? So yeah. So magkaiba siya in terms of yung dealing with authorized and just causes for this one. Okay? Yeah. So there. So again, these two flow charts, you can try to customize further in your own respective organizations, depending on your own particular process and procedures. But these are templates that you can make use of if you would want to implement process for dealing with particular cases. Okay, there. Okay, so that sums up my presentation for this webinar. So let me now pause here for a while for us to consider questions that might have been put in the chat box. Okay. So Aimee, let's now try to engage no with our participants no for their questions no. So I'd like to uh, hear some of the questions from our audience.
All right. So again, thank you everyone, especially those who are still here, and who's been actively sending in their questions. No, so let me get the question from the main room. Um, Says here, if the minor misconduct becomes habitual, for example, absences and late cases, could it lead to major misconduct? I think it was answered earlier, but Ronnie, would you like to give further explanations on this one?
Okay. Well, again, no, as I've mentioned, it's important for us to consider that yung mga misconduct natin, for example, has to be properly documented, no? Because just to share to you a particular case that I've handled before, no, na this particular company, no, noticed certain misconduct, for example, in the past, no, but they weren't able to document properly, no, the misconduct, no, and because of that, if no proper documentation was done, what can happen is, based on your code of discipline, if it's the first time that you're documenting that offense, then definitely you cannot proceed directly to a higher offense. Kunwari, you have to terminate or suspend. Pero yun pala, wala naman pala siyang prior disciplinary action. So that will default na dapat first offense na yun in that case. So if ever no nagkaroon ng recurrence yung kanyang offense, kunwari, nangyari siya once no in previous month, and then another situation or incident happen in the next coming months, no? And because of that, progression, okay? Ang mahirap kasi kung if we will do progressive pero wala kang proper documentation, hindi mo ma-justify yung progressive penalty if ever. So kailangan may proper documentation for misconduct if necessary.
So I hope we were able to address your question. No? The next one that we received here earlier is it legal to lessen salary of employee once he is demoted to a lower rank?
Again, can you repeat? Can you
Is it legal to lessen the salary of an employee once he is demoted to a lower rank?
no. The answer is plain no. You cannot do that because that could be parang when you diminish the salary of that person, there's a
Hmm.
prohibition regarding with regards to wages, no? Ayan. So that is something that is already part of the
Labor
law,
code.
no? Kasi labor code yan eh. So that means na you can, of course, management has the prerogative to transfer or put the person in another position, for example, without having the salary to be demoted or at least bumaba yung kanyang benefits kasi kailangan protektahan natin yun in that case. Okay? Pero yung disciplinary action could still be given to that person. Ayan.
Yeah. Next question here is loss of trust and confidence a valid ground for demotion?
Yes, it is, no? Pero remember, the loss of trust should be properly substantiated. No? What do I mean by that, no? A lot of times kasi when you talk about loss of trust, no, some people can easily parang go to that particular remedy, no, or parang yun yung gamitin natin because nawala na ng tiwala, no. But um, yung loss of trust para maging basis siya talaga for disciplinary action, there has to be a sequence of events or activities that led to, let's say, kunyari, if I'm the superior, it led to me no, to believe na nawala na yung tiwala. No? Because usually, loss of trust would start from you are trusting that person. For example, yung person is hired as a supervisor, as a manager, no, and may tiwala ka sa kanya. But certain incidences, for example, would lead you to believe na gumagawa siya ng kalokohan, for example. And there has to be certain documentation about it. Okay? Para magamit mo yung loss of trust. Otherwise, hindi mo pwedeng i-recreate na bukas makalawa, sinabi ko na nagkaroon ako ng loss of trust. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, there has to be a certain sequence of events that have happened. Hindi siya pwedeng naisip mo lang na nagkaroon ka ng loss of trust.
That also includes, of course, some evidence, some sort of evidence as well, no?
Yes,
Just add
yes.
to, aside from yung recurring situations. Okay, next question is coming from the main chat. Is a screenshot from social media acceptable as evidence?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
We have what we call the electronic evidence law. Okay. So that means that if there is an evidence electronically submitted, whether text message, email, or something coming from your computer, it could be admissible as an evidence.
Hmm. All right. Let me get the question here. Okay. Does clarifying a certain company policy in a straightforward manner constitute disrespect?
Okay.
May context dito, no? An employee asking clarification from HR or superior on the purpose of using a monitoring app despite they are working from office and has a team respective KPI monitoring sheet.
Mhm. Well, again, no, with regards to clarifying, it is not for me, no, as far as I am concerned, it is not a evidence of disrespect, no? Except if yung clarification has a certain malice, for example, no? What do I mean, no? When I say clarification, kailangan yung clarification mo objective, meaning that, you present a situation, and that situation could be considered by the company. Okay? So, in that case, no, you're not trying to, parang put malice to certain people regarding that particular policy, for example, no, na example, no, pwede mo sabihin na kaya siguro ginawa niyo itong policy is because you're favoring certain people, no, over us. Ayun. So, pwedeng, yan, yung mga ganung question could already have some parang evidences of parang disrespect in a way. Okay? Especially if they're pertaining to certain people, especially people of authority na somehow, no, they might be questioning rather than clarifying.
Okay. Next question here coming from the main chat is it acceptable to implement suspension as disciplinary action and at the same time charge employee for for a monetary liability?
Well, usually yan, it could happen, for example, that there is a suspension, and um, usually that can happen in certain, no, very unusual situations where, the person, because of a major misconduct, no, meron siyang damages that has to be parang paid up. No? Meaning, kunyari, nakabasag or, sort of like merong damage to properties that has to be parang deducted from the salary of the employee. So, pwede magsabay doon if ever. Pero again, it is the decision of the company to be able to consider, no, to also exercise compassion. Okay? What I mean, if the person, is not capable of paying up for that particular penalty, then don't try to, kumbaga, if you implement already suspension, I think suspension is penalty enough because meron ng, meron ng deduction because you're not going to be paid. Okay? So that's already penalty enough for the person. Now, again, gagamitin mo lang yan on some rare occasions, probably.
So it's always under the discretion of the company, no? So it
Mm.
really also will depend on the gravity of the damage, no?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so okay. Next question here is can we apply disciplinary actions to poor unacceptable work performances as evidenced by the performance management process?
Yes. You can apply that, no? Usually, ang disciplinary action, it covers typically, no, three types of actions. Pwedeng attendance related, it could be conduct related, or it could be performance related. Yeah. So those three are basis for disciplinary action.
Get another question here. Here, my follow-up question. Is it right for the company to issue a major offense NTE straight away if they deem the act is disrespectful? This was from the question if on clarifying company policy. Meron siyang follow-up
So,
question.
so ang question is, again, can you repeat yung
Yung follow-up question niya, is it right for the company to issue a major offense NTE straight away if they deemed that the act is disrespectful?
Okay. Yeah. Kasi remember, di ba sabi natin doon sa process that I showed earlier, there has to be first an incident report, no? So, an incident report could be either verbal or written. So, if ever that incident happened, and you can verify that, no, that there was a disrespect, if ever, then you can proceed to the notice, the first notice, which is the notice to explain. Yun. So, because remember, no, pag nagbigay ka ng notice to explain, depending on whether the explanation was acceptable, you can either receive it or reject it. Okay? So, ang gusto mo lang mangyari is malaman yung explanation ng employee. Okay? From there, you can make a decision whether will you issue a memo or um, will you just parang let go of that particular case. No? Na, hindi naman kasi lahat ng NTE will result to a memo.
Get to this question. Does it have a certain period of time to terminate an employee? For example, the company had a theft incident, but unfortunately, we don't have a valid evidence to prove. Then suddenly, after months, someone testify and give an evidence to the management. So
Oh,
I think
okay.
there's a theft issue, but then the time that it was discovered, no, there wasn't any evidence that they could find until after a few months, nagkaroon ng testimony or witness, no?
Mhm.
So, pwede pa bang magkaroon ng termination if the theft happened
Oh,
for quite
yeah.
some time before
Okay.
there was a
Okay. Yeah. The answer is yes. No? Except that yung the termination process could still be initiated, but with regards to the process itself of going through the NTE, for example, especially kung hindi na let's say if your incident reports have never been filed, for example, and wala ka na talagang basis, for example, you'll have to gather evidences first before you start the termination process. Kasi even if termination process na siya, kailangan siyang dumaan dun sa NTE, kailangan mo pa rin talagang kuha ng explanation from the employee, no? Now, the problem with that is, posibleng mangyari, the person can say that, I forgot already about it, no, na hindi ko na maalala, for example. And, that could be, something na can happen kasi kung matagal yung period na nalaman yung company na may theft pala, no? So somehow, kung wala na yung evidences or wala na yung proof, no, that the theft was actually happening, then it will be hard to prove, for example, no? So, sabi nga natin dito, no? So, and you have to remember this, no? So, pagdating sa disciplinary cases sa company, magkaiba yung, di ba meron tinatawag na proof beyond reasonable doubt. Ibig sabihin, kailangan, pag proof beyond reasonable doubt, walang kaduda-duda na ginawa talaga ng employee yun. Pero, pag sa company, ang kailangan lang natin substantial evidence. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng substantial evidence, no? Kunyari, kung ano yung position niya, kunyari, nag-handle siya ng kaha or, pera, for example, no? So, And meron kang mga certain records, although hindi siya kompleto, pero kapag nakita mo na, pag nag-audit kayo, for example, in-audit mo yung mga records mo, tapos lumalabas talaga may mga kulang-kulang, then it could lead you to believe that they were theft. Yun. So that's why auditing is an important element pagdating sa investigation. Kasi pag walang mga audit yan, for example, ano yung basis mo, di ba? Parang you're accusing your employee, pero wala ka namang basis for saying kung wala kang audit or wala kang paper records, etc.
All right. So I hope we were able to answer your questions, give clarity, to these situations that you may have encountered or possibly encounter in your role. So thank you everyone for joining. If you would like to get again a copy of the exact presentation material, we're offering it along with the toolkit that
Yeah.
will come with this one, with this program. You'll also receive an e-certificate, for attending this free webinar. It will be
Okay.
this will be available 3 days after from today, three working days. So expect that on your
Yeah.
inbox. So if
Mm.
you would like to watch again the recording of this webinar, it will be available on our YouTube channel. So make sure that when you go to our channel, please do subscribe to it so that you get notified once this particular recording is already available and loaded. So maraming salamat.
Okay.
We're posting a
Before
feedback.
I Yeah,
Yes.
before so let me explain lang yung toolkit, So the toolkit, for those who are going to avail of it, will be composed of, di ba yung disciplinary process kanina, So there are certain forms, that we will include there, Particularly yung form for the notice explain, uh, the written explanation form, as well as yung incident report, ano yung format for that one, and other forms, that we will include as part of the disciplinary process. Ayan. So, para you can make use of it, you can customize it accordingly to your company, okay? And you can make use of it, So, usually yan, yung mga forms na we're giving out to you, usually meron siyang premium, actually babayaran mo siya supposed to be. But for today, you are receiving as part of the handout for
Yes.
200 pesos. So, take this
Yes.
chance to be
Malaking
able
ano
to
yan.
grab that particular toolkit. Yeah.
Yes.
Malaking kabawasan sa pagbabayad ng toolkit.
Oh.
Ayan.
And of course, that's also ang pinaka-premium niyan, no, for everyone's is our speaker is also a full-time consultant. So ginagamit talaga siya ng aming mga clients, no, na we're
Yeah.
helping, no. So this is something that really is ready to use.
Yeah.
Customize yun na lang to your own, based on your policy, of course, and based on other rules that you apply in your organization. So if you're interested to get these program inclusions, you may send us an email at info.tr@tanbridgeph. So Justin, I hope kindly post the link for our feedback form. Napaka-importante po nito sa amin, because this is what we use, no, to for the next program that and the upcoming programs that we line up, that will be conducted, no, in the coming months. So if you have any suggestions, this is the best platform where you can send us your recommendations. And also we would like to hear how you found this program and what your takeaways are and what you would like to see us discuss, no, whether it's a free or a paid webinar or workshop. And so definitely um, ikino-consider namin yan. We give very so much value into that. And again, for those who are in Angeles or near in that region, in Pampanga, we're inviting you to join us the 10 costly HR mistakes workshop. This is a paid version, no? So this is a special one that we designed to cater to our to companies, no, who would want to join our program, no. Again, witness na kayo doon sa mga makukuha yung doon sa mga mag-a-avail ng inclusion. So you'd see how practical those are. So I do hope if you're in that area, you can join us. Just send us an email we'll give you the link where you can find more details on how you can register. That will be happening on November 28th. But for future programs, please do follow our Facebook page. That's where we announce our upcoming programs. And I do hope that in the next programs that we will be conducting, we'll see you again. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good night, and we hope to see you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.